Meeting for the City of Wyoming, Minnesota, September 21st, 2021. Let the record reflect, we do have a quorum. Member Yeager, Member Schilling, Member Onstead, Member Luger, and Mayor Iverson are present. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by veteran and council member Schilling.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I think if everybody's okay, I'd like to move the open forum after we swear in Officer Trevor, if that's fine. Is that okay with council? Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to start with number 1 on the agenda. First is swearing in Officer Trevor Miner as a Wyoming police officer. Chief Hoppy.
Trevor, would you join me up at the podium, please? Members of the council, today I have the honor of presenting to you our newest police officer, Trevor Miner. Started with us about 2 weeks ago. He's been in the office getting all of his schoolwork and training done, but today we're swearing him in as we put him on the road next week, and you guys get the honor of doing so. But before we swear you in, Trevor, we want you to understand the oath and what that represents and the commitment that you're about to undertake. There's 2 items that we give to you when you become a police officer, very symbolic. One is the badge, and the other is the gun, both of which will be returned to us at the end of your service. The gun represents the power to enforce, but the badge represents the authority that's granted to you by our council and our community. Of the 2, the badge carries a much greater weight. Okay? The history of the badge dates all the way back to the medieval time when the knights were given a shield or a crest that represents their allegiance and loyalty. During the period of the Knights of the Round Table in Camelot, the knights were given a heavy coat of armor and a shield they carried into battle. In the middle of the shield was a crest, just like your badge. The crest in the shield represents the legitimacy and their authority to act on behalf of the crown. Today, it's your authority to act on behalf of our community. The shield and the badge was temporarily issued to the knight, given to them when they were dubbed as the knighthood and returned at the end of the service. And today we're going to give you your badge that will be returned to us at the end of your service. The shield and the badge will be issued today is much heavier than those that were issued in the medieval times. It isn't the physical weight of the shield that burdens the one who wears it, but rather the oath they take to honor it. The brightness and the brilliance of the badge. The badge is brilliant and bright today, untarnished, shining, and undented. The shield will be worn every day of service. It will be put to the test of time and exposed to every element of life. It will get scratched and dented along the journey, but it should never become tarnished. The community is issuing you this symbol of authority to be returned to them in the same bright and brilliant condition at the end of your service. I'm going to tell you, after more than 30 years as a servant leader, serving communities like Wyoming and others, I can only offer you one simple piece of advice before you take this oath and accept that badge. The brilliance of your badge cannot be maintained by spit, shine, or polish. A rag and a buffer will not help you return the shine of your badge. The brightness and brilliance can only be maintained by the actions you take each and every day that you wear it. Each interaction you have, each decision you make, and honoring the oath that you take tonight will determine the brightness and brilliance of your badge when the day comes that you hand it in. And so today, I'd like to present Trevor Miner, our newest police officer, and ask that the City Council, in its representation of our community, swear Mr. Miner in and have the mayor issue you the oath of office as a representation that this oath and authority comes from our community.
Is that all right?
Yes, that is all right.
All right. So repeat after me. I, Trevor Miner, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States would also like just to say congratulations to the family as well. I'm sure given this times, this is kind of a hard thing, and I'm talking to a mom, right? So I get it, but we're gonna keep him as safe as possible, and we're extremely excited to have him here in the city of Wyoming. So he's in great hands. All right, so we're gonna actually go back up into our agenda to the open forum. An opportunity for members of the public to address the city council on items that are on or not on the current agenda. Items requiring council action may be deferred to staff or boards and commissions for research and future council agendas if appropriate. You will be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that you conduct yourself in a professional, courteous manner and refrain from the use of profanity. Failure to abide by the policy may result in the loss of your privilege to speak. And I believe we have one person here to speak today. So she'd like to come up and give her name and address.
You're familiar with me, I've been around enough. I just want to say thank you for all the good work you've done on our streets. It's so nice to come into our city and see all this all cleaned up. We look like a city now. I grew up in a small town of 300 people. I know what it looks like, so this has been really exciting for me. And my family, 2 of my dad's brothers live in Cambridge. They know where Wyoming is because I do. They know me, so it's been fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janine. We appreciate it. That's Janine Sachs. All right, we will move on to number 2, approval of minutes. Consider approving the minutes of the regular meeting of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council for September 7th, 2021. Do we have any comments or questions? If not, we need a motion to approve.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Schilling.
He beat me.
And, okay, we have a motion to approve by member Onstead. Do we have a second by member Schilling?
I will second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, so approved. Number 3 on our agenda, consider approving the minutes of the city council work session of the Wyoming, Minnesota City Council on September 9th, 2021. If there are no questions or comments, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
All right, so we have the first motion by member Schilling. Do we have the second by member Lugar?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. We'll move on to the consent agenda, number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Does anybody wish to pull an item from the consent agenda?
Pool number 7, please.
We'll pull number 7. Any others? If not, we need a motion to approve 4, 5, 6, and 8.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by member Lugar. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by member Onstead. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. Number 7, to consider resolution 21-0995 to fund the repair of the debris tank by ABM Equipment for the total price of $44,294.89 and the reimbursement of $36,757.51 from the League of Minnesota Cities Equipment Insurance. Member Yeager, your question?
Okay, why does the city have to pay a depreciation charge of 20% on an insurance claim?
Let Mr. Owens start. Yeah, there's never been any cases through the League of Minnesota City with a Vector truck tank. And a Vector truck costs $500,000, so there was no way to mathematically figure out what that truck's worth for depreciation. And so then we came up with the 20% betterment, like the truck is worth $7,000 more than when we purchased it with the new tank on. And that's what it took 6 weeks to come to the conclusion, and that's what they came up with, and I agreed with it.
But is this usual on all equipment claims? Depreciation charge? Because I would think that it would be pay your $1,000 deductible and reimburse the rest.
On our generator that we had that went out, they did 50% on that because of the age. They take the age into consideration of the equipment.
Yep, that is standard through the league, that there will be a depreciation depending on the age and the potential cost of the item. So it's nothing that we haven't dealt with before.
Okay. That's all I had.
All right.
Unless you want to tell me what the heck happened? The tank just imploded?
Yeah, they said because of what they think, nobody really knows, there's only been 2 of them, so ever in the whole company's history. But they think, they did all the repairs, and then the vacuum pump is new also from Grand Rapids put in, and it was so tight that it collapsed.
Oh, it's like, was it too much vacuum, or the tank was repaired too well?
The tank was old, basically, and it was weak in one spot. And I thought they went in and somehow measured the steel in the tank, but they eyeballed it and welded and stuff.
Okay,
So, yes, that's what happened. Yeah.
okay, cool.
All right, we need a motion to approve Resolution 21-0905 to fund the repairs of the debris tank by ABM Equipment for the total price of $44,294.89 and the reimbursement of $36,757.51 from the League of Minnesota Cities Equipment Insurance. Member Yeager, would you like to make that motion?
Sure. Move to approve Resolution 21-09-95.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Onstad. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So approved. We'll move on to the agenda reports from our officer boards, commissions, and department heads. That's number 9, 10, 11, and 12 on our agenda. Does anybody wish to pull anything from those reports? All right, we'll move on to number 13, Resilient Community Project Application Update. Ms. Dumas, are you doing that?
I am, thank you, Mayor. Mayor, members of the City Council, the City of Wyoming's Resilient Community Project was received by the University of Minnesota and had very positive response from staff there, so it's very exciting for us to hear. Included in your packet is a contract for a 1-year kind of partnership with the University of Minnesota, during which they will review their course offerings and work to identify courses that will help to fit the goals outlined in the proposal. And when they find a course that they think would match, then what they do is they put together some outcomes that would come out of that coursework and present that to the City Council, at which point you can say, yep, this is the direction we want to go, or reframe it a little bit. One thing to note with reviewing the application, the staff did say that they were not confident that they could produce, students would be able to produce a complete final design, and I know that was something the council was interested in. That's just outside of the scope of what they could accomplish through a single course. What they did suggest looking for through the project with the Veterans Memorial, they thought that it would match really well with like an architecture design course. With the history walk, they were interested in connecting it with like a local Minnesota history course, or like a museum studies course. So we wanted to present that to you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to try and answer those, or follow up with staff to see if there's anything we can answer.
All right, so questions from council. We'll start from Member Yeager.
How much staff time is going to be required to fulfill the duties of the sponsor?
I believe, I'm not looking at it in front of me, it is between 3 and 5 hours a week, I believe.
Our staff time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and when you talk about not being able to do the final design in the scope of the project, will a second project and an additional charge be necessary?
That's totally up to the City Council. In order to complete the project, that you could perhaps pursue an additional project with the university, or hire a consultant to complete that final design.
Okay, and all right, so if we did it through an architectural class, how does that differ from a full final design mentioned in the memo?
I do not have those specific details. I think that's a part of what would come out of whatever matching that they would do. They would be able to tell us specifically what those outcomes would be, and then we could identify what would need to be done in addition to that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Member Schilling?
I don't have any questions.
Member Onstead?
I have a question about the history portion, and would we be able to direct them kind of give them some guidance on what we would like for history?
Absolutely. So they are, part of the project we've talked about is being very focused on community engagement and hearing what the different history of the community is. And there would be different opportunities for council, community members to participate in kind of putting together that narrative.
I would like to see, both the history of the people that live here, also the natural history.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where I'm thinking
Absolutely.
along that line.
All right, thank you, Member Luker.
No questions.
All right. I'm still in favor of this, even though not all the outcomes gonna come out. I think the hardest part about what we're facing with that park is actually all the time it'll take for that community engagement.
Yes.
I've been in marketing a long time, and it's gonna take a lot of feedback. So, it would definitely be more than 3 to 5 hours. So, very happy with that. We'll have to figure something out later for the rest of it, so, all right. Let's see. All right, so we'll move on to number 14, which is new business, to consider resolution 210997, a resolution approving a preliminary tax levy for 2022 and setting a public hearing for truth and taxation at the December 7th, 2021 Wyoming City Council meeting. Hi Jessie.
Hello.
You'll be starting us off?
Yep, I will.
Perfect, thank
Kelly,
you.
is that all right if I share my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You should be able to.
Okay. Can everybody see my slideshow?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we are going to adopt the preliminary levy. So our agenda tonight is we're going to go through the tax levies, and then we're going to go through the general fund revenue and expenditures. So as we discussed in the last meeting, we are doing the $300,000 street replacement fund. And overall, the tax levy will be going up by $492,106, or 11.06%. The little increase is due to Rob and I, CW Technology increased their computer fees by 5%. We found that out after the meeting. So I had to plug in an additional 5% for CW Technologies. So that's why it's at 11.06 instead of the 10.97. So it looks like, as you can see on this slide, 3.32% is the general fund levy. 17.65 is the capital funds levy, the change. And our biggest increase is due to the $300,000 street replacement levy that we noted last time, and that is included in the long-term plan. A little bit farther down on the slide, the biggest increase is our 2009 GO bond, which increased by 39.37%. The rest of them went down. The tax capacity is going up to 3.78%, and the city tax rate will be going up by 3.04%. And this reminder is a preliminary levy. Therefore, once it is set tonight, we cannot increase it. We can only decrease it. Do you guys have any questions on this slide?
Yeah, why did the 2009 GO bond go up?
It was part of the, that was just in the debt levy. That's what long-term plan called for.
The schedule on that particular bond, it goes up towards the end, so that's in the bond book
Yep.
on it.
Oh, okay, will the other bonds go up towards the end?
Some of them, it's essentially sequenced either 10 or 15, but some do change over the duration of them. So yes, potentially, but those are factored in every year and also looked at in our long-term plan.
Okay.
Any other questions on that slide?
Go ahead, Jessie.
Okay. So on this slide, you can see the impact of the taxes on the different market values on the residential properties. At $100,000, the tax market rate value is $71,800. They'll see an increase of $22 for next year. Residential at market value of $400,000, we'll see an increase of $121. I did put another slide in here because we've been seeing that residential properties have been increasing by 7% or more. So it's important to show the impact of the increase in values, given that many of the properties will see their values go up. So this is what it will be potentially if the market value increases 7%. So as you can see, it'll be $45. I'll move that out of the way. $45 for $100,000 and $250 for the $400,000.
Jesse, thank you for putting that in. This is Mayor Iverson. I think I would like to state, though, that not every property is going to go up that 7%. So what I don't want is our residents to think that during this presentation that we know that it's every house is going to go up 7%. That this is, it could happen, and this is kind of where some people, what do I want to say, need to understand that the city doesn't set those increases in market value, the county does. Some will go up and some will go down and some will stay the same. But I really like the fact that you put this in here for people to understand that it could possibly go up as well. So thank you for doing that.
You're very welcome. So next we'll move on to the general fund and revenues and expenses. This is the general fund. Here we can see that they're broken down by the type of revenue. The bigger changes include the property tax increase is shown here. This increase is due to offset the increases in expenses and the decreases in other revenues. Basically, this 3.3 million is as the expenses go up, this number gets changed so we have a balanced budget at the end. And the other one that was bigger was the other revenues went down. And that was due to last year of 2021 being the last year of the Polar tax abatement. Polaris, sorry. The general fund expenses. Here we can see that they're broken down by departments again. I wanted to draw your attention to a few of the categories that I saw the change. The city clerk's office, the increase is due 5% in CW technologies, and we added $8,500 for Civic Plus, and an increase of wages and benefits by $16,000. Next year is an election year, so we had to increase for $6,000 due to the elections. The financial administration decreased due to that tax abatement again. The police department, their increase is due to the wages and benefits by $68,000 due to COLA and set increases and the crime analysis promotion in July of 2021. And this is offset by a decrease in health insurance due to the new employees selecting the opt-out instead of family coverage. The highways, streets, and roads, the increase in benefits by $14,000, and the increases in workers' comp and general property taxes. That's by $17,000. There was a slight increase to small tools and repair, and salt and sand and street materials by $5,000 apiece. The parks, there's an increase in contracted services by $10,000, and we also added $1,000 for seasonal activities. If you would like to look what we have budgeted for each of the individual items, they are provided in your packet, and we can discuss them further if needed. This is the general fund expenditure summary broken down by department. This is kind of a nice slide because it shows that 50.5% is due to public safety. And the other big one is highways, streets, and roads by 21.2%, and the building inspectors by 5.7%. So that's all I have for you guys. Do you have any questions, or is there anything you want to discuss any further?
I think, thank you, Jesse, for that presentation. I think I ask this every year. Mr. Linwood, can you state why we're doing this tonight, what a do not exceed is, and what it means for the state?
Sure, certainly. Through statutorily, the city has an obligation to set a preliminary levy and send that to the county auditor no later than September 30th of each year. The preliminary levy is, as Ms. Sturts had said, it's the levy amount that the city has set in. You cannot go any higher than the preliminary levy, but you certainly can come down in the levy. So this is a starting point, and then we'll continue to have our budget meetings and work through the budget up until our truth and taxation hearing, which statutorily tonight, along with this resolution, you're setting a public hearing for December 7th. That is our invite to the public and our notice that we'll be discussing our final budget that night, and if necessary, we can continue it to our second meeting.
Okay, and how many times do you, throughout the years, receive phone calls when does the county send out their?
November.
In November?
Sure.
And residents will initially see like this huge amount, right?
Right.
What they think is a huge amount, or is a huge amount at 11%. But in fact, that's not exactly what that bill is gonna be, am I correct?
Correct. So that's a preliminary number, but that's also, there's a lot of different aspects in that. I think one thing that we have plans to try to do a little better job communicating on how tax statements work, because frankly, a lot of the public just doesn't understand how they work. That there's different components, not only the city, there's county, there's schools, there's watersheds, there's other agencies that are included in that tax bill. So we've been doing our City 101 video, so we plan to have a video on that just to try to help better explain that to the public so they know what that tax bill is. But you'll also see the valuations, which Mr. talked about a little bit tonight. So that's factored by the Chisago County assessor, not by the city as well. But that'll be that initial preliminary levy for the city portion. But like I said, that is our do not exceed, and obviously that can change as we continue to work with the council on our 2022 budget.
Okay, thank you. I know it can be very confusing.
Yeah,
So, all right. I just want to point out a couple things before I go to council with any other questions as well. Health insurance. So I do know that there was an increase of 8.3%. Can you explain a little bit more on that? And do we have any control over that? And if so, what steps have you taken?
So the insurance currently, the city is part with it's a co-op or a conglomerate. It's Sourcewell, and it's made up of different cities, different county entities, different school districts that we are also part of, and we have continued to get our insurance there. Is that what we have found has been essentially our best savings, our best bottom line for the employees here at the city. That 8.3%, that is identified in that, but that is broken just for the city. Past practice by the city council that number will be split between both the city and the employees. So 4.15 for the city, 4.15 for the employees. So we will, as we work on that final levy, we will have that breakdown. We did go through an internal RFP process with a representative from our insurance, Al Roth, where he actually goes and he gets about 5 different single groups and then looks at some different through the Minnesota Insurance and some other ones. We looked at a total of about 8 different plans to really see if we could find any significant savings. And after evaluation, myself, Ms. Dumas, and our accountant, Stacy Sachs, we went through those along with that consultant. We really didn't see anything of any significance, so we've opted to stay with that. But every year we've kind of started doing that as just an internal look to see, hey, is there anything that we can do here? Is there any better plans out there? Is there any savings that we're not seeing here? But the Sourcewell plan is a very good plan. A lot of cities utilize it, so that's what we've continued as presented tonight with that Sourcewell plan. Other than it will be, obviously, per the direction of the city council with past practices, that 8.3 will be split.
Okay. And League of Minnesota Cities, we have a lot of our insurance through there.
Correct.
And can you explain why they're suggesting those increases and what has brought on those increases,
Sure.
if you can?
Just general, there's 2 different pieces to this. There's a property liability, where we're seeing increases in auto, we're seeing increases in just all of our different property facilities, and this is not only the city of Wyoming, but other municipal entities throughout the state. The bigger one is our workers' comp. This is where we're seeing some significant increases, a lot of that due to public safety and police officers and some of the different things as far as mental health and some of the PTSD that they're seeing and some other claims that the league is really seeing. Now, these are based on recommendation from the league, and we took the high end of these, so we're certainly hopeful that we won't see some of these increases the way they are, but obviously we need to budget appropriately for that liability insurance and that work comp insurance to ensure that we can pay it no matter what the final increase is.
Okay, and why do we go through the League of Minnesota Cities and not some private company?
Because it would be exponentially more expensive if we did. The league offers, once again, it's, you have 857 cities throughout the state that you're getting that buying power that through that insurance, so it really offers our most. That was one of the main reasons actually the League of Minnesota Cities was ever formed. It was just for that reason, for insurance.
Okay, and we used some of that insurance based on the truck problem that we had, correct?
A few times we've
so.
a truck, some generators, our AC unit on this building that was finally replaced today. I'm happy to say, just in time for October.
Just in time.
So, but yes, but so yeah, it is the insurance is good, and it's not only for that, but for if we have any other liability issues, whether a sewer backup or anything else along that. So it's a good service, and it's a good insurance the league provides.
Okay, and for people that are watching that may watch this later, can you explain what a COLA increase is?
Sure. COLA is a negotiated component through our contract negotiations. COLA will be cost of living adjustment. The city council utilizes bargaining for we have a couple different bargaining groups at the city. We have LELS, and then we have the local 49ers. The city council works to go through those contract negotiations and then to look at compensation studies of other cities that we've identified as comparable, and try to make sure that we're being competitive with those other cities, and that you're being fair to your employees. So we do utilize those COLA amounts for our bargaining units, and then for our other admin non-union employees as well, and our department heads.
Okay, and usually when we pass this and I don't know, there's an equipment or whatever is on there and it comes up to council, usually all of that is what we approved in our budget, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Those are, very rarely if there is an unbudgeted item, the council will be made aware of it if it's an emergency, or if there's we've never done a budget amendment since I've been here, but if there was something that came up that was really just unexpected or we didn't plan for, certainly that would be the case. But everything that we have in our budget that you see in front of you that needs to be approved is all within that budget.
Okay, so when something comes next year, it's already been approved?
Correct.
So, and that is due because we look out in a 5-year process and the departments do this, whether it's police cars, trucks, fire trucks, whatever, we've looked down the road 5 years. And so that's how we kind of guide our process.
Correct. We have the long-term plan, and then we have our capital improvement plan that we evaluate all of our different equipment throughout our public works, police department, and then our building department, and then obviously anything administratively, which like last year we saw we had to purchase a new server, so that's something that we plan out. Computers, et cetera, that we have to make sure that we're budgeting appropriately for those, as those need to be updated, obviously.
Okay, awesome. Those were all my questions. So we're going to start with Member Yeager.
No questions really. I take it the typo has been corrected.
There was a change in it was total certified levy. The verbiage was a little different, so we have corrected that back. I know Ms. Dumas had updated that, so it should be on your packet now on the online one, but it has been identified as total certified levy.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. That's all I had. Thank you.
All right, Member Schilling.
I just more of a comment in reference to the health insurance rates. I sit on Labor Management Commission for West St. Paul as well, and we have a proposed 20% increase. So we have a lot of employees that are freaking out right now because of that. So we're in the process of doing exactly what you just explained. We're trying to go into a co-op for that reason, but I mean, even this is huge, and I think, unfortunately, we did not see an increase last year, correct, in health? Because I know we did.
Unusually, luckily.
I was going to say that was the first time I've never seen one.
Correct.
And I think just because of everything going on, they kind of, and now I think we're getting the makeup for it, in my opinion.
Right,
So, but hopefully we can get it down a little bit, because that is a tough percent as well for them. But that was all I had. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Member Onstead.
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. Member Lugar.
I have no questions. I'm looking forward to continuing the work with city staff, department heads, and AEM transparently to continue to work on this.
How many more meetings do we have for budget? 3?
I believe our next one is in October, and then we'll have 2 or 3 more before our final TNT, and obviously at the at the needs or pleasure of the council to say if we want to have more, certainly.
Okay, perfect, awesome. All right, with no further questions, we do need a motion to approve Resolution 210997, a resolution approving a preliminary tax levy for 2022 and setting a public hearing for truth and taxation at the December 7th, 2021 Wyoming City Council meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion to approve by Member Schilling. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Member Luger. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So passed. All right, so we will go into reports, and we will start with Member Luger.
I attended the Park Advisory Commission meeting as well as Stagecoach Day. So
All right, thank
thanks
you.
for watching.
Member Onstead.
I attended the planning commission and walked in the stagecoach parade and also sat at the Wyoming display booth.
All right, thank you. Member Schilling.
I attended the EDA meeting yesterday. Didn't think about that. I did miss Stagecoach Days this year due to work. And thank everybody for watching, and that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Member Yeager.
Okay, I attended the budget meeting. I attended the sewer commission meeting where there was a lengthy discussion on the next phase of the improvements for the sewer plant. The discussion was mostly there was a deadline to get in line for funding versus not having a concrete list of projects. They were quite vague. At the end of the lengthy discussion, there was a motion to have the chair sign a letter to get us in line for the funding. Right, and then there was a friendly amendment to ask that there be a concrete list, hopefully by the next meeting. Skater will be added to it, and that motion passed on a split vote. The other part of the meeting was an O&M scope update. Veolia is in the process of transferring the vendors all to them. So as a sewer, there's budget, there's Stagecoach Days. I attended that where I sold books for the Friends of the Library. All money raised by the Friends supports library programming. And that's all my report. Thank you for coming and thank you for watching.
All right, thank you. I attended the budget meeting, the last night's EDA meeting, the sewer commission meeting last night as well. Stagecoach Days parade, I will tell you, I did it twice. So once as a council member and once for Stomp Out Suicide. Quick change shirt. So I think next year maybe I'll go for 3. And then I also was at the booth, which was a great experience to talk to a lot of our members. Let's see, I know I'm forgetting something else in there, but I would like to say, first of all, thank you to Congressman Stauber, who was here a week ago? Week ago Friday, and he took a generous amount of time to speak with the city for some things that we have planned, and then also helping us maybe with some county things as well. So thank you to Congressman Stauber. I would also like to thank, and I'm not going to say names because I'll miss a whole bunch of people, but I really want to thank the Fire Relief Association. I will tell you that I did not hear anything that was bad. I talked to all the vendors, they're gonna come back next year. I talked to all the people in the parade, they're coming back next year. The band looked, I didn't go because I was exhausted, but the band looked like there was a lot of people in that tent and they had a good time. So just a huge shout out to the Fire Relief Association and all the hard work that they put into it. Chief Hobby, did you write the clues for the medallion or did somebody else?
No, I have been writing them since we started it, I think, 9 years ago. So those
Okay.
are my last clues.
Yeah, good job. It took 5 days.
That was our goal, was to make it till Friday or Saturday, so.
Yeah, that was great. So I'd like to thank everybody for that. And I think that's it. It was a good week. It was a good day. It was actually a really good day for Wyoming. So, and then of course, everybody heard that Chief Hoppy is retiring. We will be planning a citywide get-together to say thank you to your service and for the community to be able to say just their best wishes. So we'll be getting that on the calendar shortly. And I'm announcing that now so you have no time to say no. So, all right. So with that, we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We have a motion to adjourn by Member Schilling, and I will make a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.